the Supreme Court ruling essentially means that all those hundreds of millions of people who can't afford drugs made by multinational companies like Novartis can continue to use copies of those drugs made in countries like India, what are otherwise known as generic drugs. It's a huge industry here. It's a $26 billion industry. And many activists here are saying that this comes as a huge relief for those patients who, not just for cancer patients, in this case, Gleevec, but also for HIV and other diseases.
This is a great judgment. The court has correctly understood that 3D is vital for making sure that you have good quality, safe and efficacious drugs.
What does it mean? Now the cancer patients across the world will be able to get cheaper drugs?
No, not all over the world. It depends on whether they have a patent system like ours, where you can actually make sure that these drugs are not patented. We have a special patent system that is because of 3D. We are asking other countries also to follow suit, and they should have 3D. But they can issue a compulsory license and get drugs from India, like they're getting antiretrovirals. So Indian companies will still be the source of generic drugs.
What's really important with this ruling is that this really sets a precedent and will prevent multinational companies, pharmaceutical companies, from obtaining fresh patents on updated versions of existing drugs, Charles.
What about India's own manufacturing sector? Because clearly a lot of generic drugs are manufactured in India, and the generic manufacturers are really very hot on the heels of the big international manufacturers when their patents run out, and in this case, when patents are declared to be invalid in India.
Well, that's right. This is a case that's being watched really closely, not just by the multinational companies, but also by companies. There's massive companies here like Cipla and others who really produce generic drugs, not just for India, but also for Africa and other developing countries.